I want to just say I'm so grateful to be here, to be able to have this multi-generational sharing. And Jillian, your story resonates with me, as I'm sure it does with so many other mothers and daughters. I was in a almost 17-year abusive alcoholic marriage. I have 2 daughters. And I knew I had to get out. It took me a very, very long time to muster the strength to get over all of my insecurity at how I'd be able to do it. I knew it wasn't a good environment for my daughters. He never turned the physical abuse on them, only me, but I know they felt it in so many other ways. And ironically enough, the turning point for me in getting out was my dad was somewhat abusive growing up, and he became very ill with pancreatic cancer. And my mom had 6 children with him, never even thought of leaving him. When he got sick, that was she said, "I'm not taking care of you." And it took all of us to convince her. And I kind of took over those duties. And I was so mad at her. And something hit me, and I said, I don't have it in me. I have too much compassion and empathy. I could never turn my back on someone who's dying. And I don't want to be married to someone and then, years later, not want to take care of this person or be with them. And I had counseling and just so much else. And I made the decision, even though he said he would kill me if I tried to leave him, which I guess he did try a few times. But so I got out, and it's almost like, and look, here I am, estranged. It just makes you wonder, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But fast forward many, many years later, my ex-husband was homeless and then became very sick. I ended up taking care of him so that my daughters wouldn't have to take the burden off. And then when I remarried to my current husband, I relinquished all of that, and the burden went to my daughters. But they loved their father. I'm in my second period of estrangement with my youngest daughter. The first one lasted about 2 years. Then we were back together with therapy, and we were back together when her father was dying, and I went and helped them. And then I actually planned his funeral, had it at my synagogue, even though he's not Jewish, but there was no place else. And I think the turning point for me, where I just wanted to give up, and was at the funeral when my estranged daughter stood up in front of a room full of, 50 people and said she was all alone in the world, that he was the only one that ever loved her. Myself, my other daughter were sitting there. It was as if we never existed. She just ripped out my heart. She just said she never felt loved at all from anyone except her father. So the turning point for me was I kind of had a little breakdown. She did estrange from me quite very shortly after that. I was taking pills for anxiety. I went in the bathroom. I just pictured myself taking the whole bottle and just wanting the pain to end. But, thank God I told people, and I was in therapy, and my husband, I was advised to have him take the bottle. and just give me one or two as I needed them. So that's when I had to take control and really build myself back up. And I actually wrote so that, details of my estrangement journey that I wanted to read here today. Have you ever seen the movie Groundhog Day? It's about a man who wakes up every day and relives that same day over and over and over. At first, that's how it was for me. Living a day-to-day repetitive existence in which my youngest daughter went 100% no contact. I went to bed every night praying for contact to be reestablished, saying good night, I love you, as I was drifting off. Then I'd send an occasional text or email. Once I even tried to call. All went unanswered, as I made the brutal discovery that I was blocked. Each morning I'd wake up and open my eyes to the realization that she was not in my life. The beginning was the toughest. I think every single one of us going through this had the same questions, thoughts, and feelings playing over and over in a loop. What did I do? How did I fail them? I must be a terrible parent. Did I do horrible things? Maybe I just can't remember. I called each and every family member, I have 5 siblings, asking, was I a good parent? I know I made mistakes, as every parent inevitably does. I made the difficult decision to become a single mother when I left my abusive alcoholic husband, a story that's not dissimilar from countless others. I also called my close friends who had been in both of my daughters' lives, as well, always asking the same question. Is there any validity to these outrageous stories of not feeding my children enough or providing adequate clothing? The answers from everyone were always full of shock, disbelief, and even anger directed at me for believing that it could be true. I felt hopeless and helpless, as well as a deep sense of humiliation. I experienced a lot of the same feelings that I had during my 17 years of physical and emotional abuse within my marriage. But somehow during that time, I found the strength, self-esteem, and glimmer of hope that I'd be able to change my life and show my 2 daughters that this behavior was unacceptable. I now understand there's no one-size-fits-all for estrangement. It occurs not only between adult children and parents, but also between other family members, dear friends, and loved ones. It feels like a disease that's incurable, even terminal at times. Some, like me, have been told again and again why they're a bad parent, the worst mom imaginable, and it would have been preferable to have ended up in foster care. Some might even consider me lucky that I have a long list of grievances from my daughter, stating why I was a bad mother from childhood and on. The list now recently includes unlocked and completely false memories of daily, behind closed door physical abuse by me. Others I've encountered have said their estrangement seemingly happened out of the blue, or maybe started with a small argument or misunderstanding, resulting in no contact, fully blocked. So I'm still undecided as whether 'tis nobler to know why, or to have no clue at all as to why it's happening. I've experienced firsthand the many stages of typical textbook grief associated with losing a loved one to death. Disbelief, shock, anger, denial, physical illness, sadness, longing, and depression. Due to the estrangement from my daughter, I've entered a newly discovered realm of ambiguous grief, grieving the living. This includes mistrust, self-doubt, self-blame, self-hatred, suicidal thoughts, physical pain, and the overall feeling that somehow I failed as a mother. Believe me, at this stage of my life, I've experienced the finality of death, the last breaths taken, the last struggle and gasps, the passing over, the whole heart-wrenching process with both of my beloved parents, And then 2 years ago, in a very different yet forgiving and compassionate way, with my ex-husband's death. The most recent, however, a year ago, was a tragic sudden death of one of my deepest longtime female friendships, a high school friend who went the wrong way on a one-way street in a blinding rainstorm. The grieving process for me in each case was a profound sense of loss that was felt as deeply as the love I had for that person. In other words, the deeper the love, the deeper the grief. Then in acceptance and finality, this person's never coming back. Compared with estrangement, this finality is never quite achieved, but the absence is felt daily. Whereas with death, we have no choice but to accept the finality part. They're not coming back. Yet we also miss these loved ones daily or intermittently. And we're reminded of them by photos, memories, signs in nature. Sometimes they even appear to us in dreams. It's amazing to me how I'm reminded of my estranged daughter by the very same exact details of ambiguous grief. So these feelings are similar to two other helpless and hopeless times in my life, my abusive marriage and my ongoing health issues. With abuse comes the shock and disbelief that it's actually happening, followed by shame, guilt, hurt, betrayal, and the practical piece of trying to hide the bruises. Always thinking we can fix the other person or hide the evidence. Kind of like the feeling you get when someone innocently asks how your adult child is doing. You're torn between telling them the often felt humiliating reality of being estranged or trying to cover up the awkwardness of not actually knowing how or what she's doing. I now know this is all completely and utterly out of my control. She will find her way back to me only if and when she's completed her own soul-searching, self-healing journey, her own path to forgiveness. In addition, most of us know about the mind and body connection. I've experienced similar feelings on my path to health as well. Disbelief, shock, grief over a constant feeling of sickness and physical pain, and feeling that I've manifested these issues or caused them to happen. I do believe there isn't a cure-all magic pill for any of our life experiences. You have to research, create a wellness plan, never give up hope, trust in yourself, if possible, also in a higher power. Then lovingly pass that on. Share your love, compassion, and forgiveness with others. My journey lately has evolved and taken me on a very different path. One of healing, positivity, and even seeking out the gratitude for my life experiences. Turning the powerless and hopeless situations into empowering realities, losing my victim persona, and trying to achieve the steps to finding my authentic self. I'm now able to feel the enjoyment of simple things and the beauty that surrounds me. It's been made possible by years of therapy regarding my history of abuse, individual therapy, counseling, support groups, Al-Anon, confiding in trusted and loving friends and family. But most recently, through a lot of research and effort, I located and joined various online groups for estranged parents of adult children. On one of these groups, I saw a post which was an invitation to an affirming and positive moving forward in your life Zoom discussion. In this group, I discovered the online course on finding your authentic self, layer by layer and step by step, led by Lisa Morris, who has since become a very dear and trusted friend. All of this has allowed me to move forward and, believe it or not, to feel grateful for all the difficult, painful, sometimes scary experiences in my life. And so, the underlying feeling that never, ever stops is how much I deeply love my daughter with all my mother heart deeply care about her, only wish her the very best, always and forever. I've uncovered a newfound belief deep in my soul that we will be authentically present in each other's lives only when she is ready and willing. Healing hugs and thoughts for all of us on this journey.